Today I'm going to talk about IT managed services and everything your company needs to be secure, productive, and efficient. I'm not going to talk too much about specific technical features of Loffler solution. I'm going to talk about why we set up the programs the way we did and why we think they're useful to companies that way. I'm happy to talk about any technical details of our solution or just managed services in general if you have questions about that. I figured this would be a good time just to talk more about why we do managed services the way we do and why that can be helpful to create a partnership with your organization. So as we went through maybe about a year ago, we looked at which of our managed services clients we had really strong relationships with. And that's a really important part of what we feel makes IT managed services work. It's something that's really important to Loffler as a whole, to have really good relationships with our partners. And so we identified a few keys to success, and we kind of went and retooled our managed services around those pieces. So communication is number one. And when I was meeting with one of my longtime clients and was telling them some new technical features and ideas we were looking at adding to the service, and they said, "Oh, that's all cool, but communication, as long as we're communicating, it's going to be fine." And so for us, there's a couple things that really lead to good communication. Recurring service reviews. You maybe call them QBRs or business reviews. We want to meet at least once a quarter with a primary contact on our side, with a primary contact at your organization, whether that's the business owner or the IT decision maker or the head of IT at your organization. Having that conversation outside the scope of individual tickets really allows us to work together to focus on delivering the solution. And so with that, we want a named primary contact. At Loffler, we're going to provide two named contacts that are outside of your account manager or the department manager. You have a service manager and a team lead that are both available to talk about the non-normal stuff. People open and close tickets all day long, but there's always something else that's going on. And we want to make sure you have an outlet to ask those questions to, and we want the same. We want to be able to say, we're seeing something that's going on, we need to talk about this. And clear expectations. Managed services is often a limited or all-you-can-eat solution, but there are always limits to that, and we want to be really clear about what we include in the service and what's extra so that when we're talking through how to resolve an issue, we're on the same page and there aren't any surprises. Transparency. So everything we know about your organization, we want to make available to our clients. I know some places they want to keep everything close because they want to make sure that they're controlling everything, and there's value in controlling and limiting access in an IT environment, but we feel like we're really working on behalf of our clients, and we want them to have the information that we do. So service portal, all the ticketing, documentation, I have a couple screenshots on that a little bit later, so that any documentation we've collected you can see. A classic example is how to set up a new employee. There's 10 steps, but for these 5 people, there's 11 steps. And you don't want to be going back and forth all the time saying you forgot that extra step on that person again. And so we have documented procedures to set up new employees. And then you have access to see that. So you can say that's right, but we've changed this over here, and please rewrite it like that. You can rewrite it and you can see it. And again, there's just that transparency and that confidence that that's not an issue moving forward. And shared reporting. The tools that we deploy to deliver IT managed services collect a lot of information. And anything that we can report on, we want to make available to you. From inventory information to warranty renewals to what version of Microsoft Office to what web browsers, all that stuff we can make available to you. It helps with audits sometimes if you have audit requirements as part of your business, or budgeting decisions, or just, again, knowing what you have there. Technology. We rely on technology. Our engineer team is really good at what they do. We staff a wide skill set of engineers, but we want to use technology to help the business. We want to have consistent products in place. So all your network switching is the same, and all your wireless access points are the same. Sometimes that's not realistic on day one of working with a service provider, but we want to put a plan in place to get there. That's to help the business operate. We want people working, not wondering which wireless access point is better than the other. High availability configurations. So if you say something is important to your business, we want to supplement that or complement that with technology that matches that importance. If you use cloud-based applications that are critical, we need to put a redundant internet connection solution in place that can fail over back and forth so that your internet is working to match that need. If label printing is critical because you're delivering product and the shipping company needs to be able to pick this stuff up on time, we want multiple label printers in place. We want to help design those solutions for you. And we want to use vendor support. So we ask all of our clients to maintain vendor support for their key hardware. It's just really important. Our engineers can't know everything about everything. And we're really good at working with the vendor of the equipment or the software to get back to a solution again so that you can get back to work. Service alignment. This is another important piece. I think we've set our services up so that when they're working well for Loffler, they're working well for you. We have the same mutual goal as that your employees are working on their jobs, not interacting with the support desk about a ticket. So, that same goal allows us to, focus on fast response and really true resolution. We don't want to just close a ticket. We want to get a senior engineer involved to find the root cause of an issue, so that that issue doesn't have to be reopened a week later. We're really good at closing tickets, but it doesn't help if the issue just comes back. So we want to make that extra investment to get really at the root cause. Proactive maintenance. Our services are unlimited support within the scope of the specific service you have. But when you're not asking us for help, we want to be reaching out into your environment and looking for areas that aren't in line with best practice or don't have the current updates on. Or just going to be changed in how they're configured so they're more reliable or more secure, less likely to be a potential hole down the road for something else. And just that response and resolution. For a long time, the most common complaint that we got is not your engineers aren't good enough at what they do, it's I didn't hear back from them, or I didn't know what you were doing. So we've done a lot of coaching and using our tools and our systems to make sure that response is really our number one goal. I need help. We hear you need help. This is our plan. And to get that information back right away, even if we can't fix the issue right away, even if we can't work on it right away, we can get that message out, and we're working closer together about how to address the issue. So those are the four keys to success that we have behind our programs. I'm glad text is really small. One of the biggest concerns that I see when talking with somebody new thinking about working with Loffler is, well, this is what I've been doing for a long time, and it just sounds like it's going to be a lot of work to make a change. Maybe I'm not happy about this, I'm not happy about that, but at least I know what those are. What does it look like to make even a change? And so we've mapped out an onboarding process. We have an internal kickoff process, and a client kickoff, and then 4 weeks of onboarding with different goals to complete in each step of the way. We've identified what we're going to ask from our clients as we onboard them, identified what we're going to do as we onboard them, and so that they can see there's a path. We've done this before. We assign a project manager to every onboarding, and to make it so it's not an unknown. And so that's one of the things we've done to help just show that we've put thought into this, is we've mapped out a pretty clear onboarding process. The transparency I mentioned, one of the things that we do with all of our services is provide a live dashboard. It's one thing to say that we deploy Windows updates and patch your servers and workstations, or maintain your antivirus or your backups. It's another thing for you to be able to log into a secure website at any time and see the actual data. It helps hold us accountable for what we're doing, and it helps you know that you don't have to track somebody down or wonder or guess. If you have a question that you need to answer for your organization, you can find the data in the dashboard. This is an example of live data. You've got open tickets, completed tickets over 7 days, created tickets over 7 days, some SLA detail about response, server health, patch coverage, antivirus coverage, survey scores. We send a survey to every person after we complete a ticket, so you can see what people are telling us about their experience. That's something we added about 6 months ago. I mentioned the shared documentation portal. There's a couple screenshots of that. You see some internal notes. This client is opening a new location next month. Be aware of that as you're providing support. Recently viewed documentation, passwords, configurations, procedure documents, remote access policies, printer setup policies, and we provide read access into all of this for our primary contacts. So again, so that they can see what we know about them, and they can help either just for peace of mind and validation or for reference. So we have 3 different core service programs. I'll talk through each one. Secure One is support for in-house IT. We really enjoy working with internal IT staff. They know the business, they know the needs of each application. They're in charge of projects and initiatives, those kinds of things. And we can focus on the behind-the-scenes support that's easy to lose focus on when you're helping a user or trying to finish that project. And so there's 3 key deliverables from this: monitoring, alert, review, and triage. A lot of different tools do monitoring and alerting. You can go out and buy one or just open source ones. But if you end up with a mailbox and a folder full of alert emails that you never look at because you didn't want to look and clutter in your inbox, so you created a rule, or you don't know what to do when you get an alert anyway, or maybe you get 20 at a time because some core system is having an issue, it can be hard to get value out of that. So all the alerts, well, you're welcome to receive them as well. They all go to us, and our engineers triage each one and provide you an interpretation. If we get 20 alerts at one time, we interpret what's going on and say, you got 20 alerts and this is the source of that. You need to look into this right now. Or maybe it's a simple one. You got a low disk space alert on one of your servers, and you should look at that this week. And that information is available in other places, but it's really easy to miss if you don't have the right attention to it, or you have other things that are priorities for you at a time. So it gives you a second set of eyes. We do an IT security health check every month. So part of the service is we're deploying Windows updates. We're deploying third-party application security updates. It's applications like Firefox, Chrome, Acrobat Reader, Flash. We're deploying endpoint antivirus. And the tools are pretty good, and they're pretty reliable, but they're not perfect. And people do lots of things with their computers. So one computer will fall out of scope. It will no longer be getting patches for some reason, or antivirus is no longer running or updated. Or somebody's traveling, so it's not connected to a central system to still get that update. So our services allow us to cover the computer no matter where it is, and then we're having an engineer check it once a month to make sure it's doing what it's supposed to do. Excuse me. And then access to the Loffler toolkit. So again, that transparency, we want to share the information that we have with you, but we also want to share the tools that we have. So we have a lot of great IT administrator tools, endpoint and remote control, different inventory reports, and all those are usable by our Secure One clients. So it can help them save some other costs. Maybe they're paying for remote control software through something else, or they don't really have it. So it's a great way to roll out some of these tools for you to use to support your systems. Secure 2 is focused on end users. So end user support, administration, infrastructure, standards, and best practices. So our services stack. So everything in Secure 2, everything in Secure 1 is included in Secure 2. End user help desk support to traditional first call support. Our average time to answer is 40 seconds or less for the last 12 months. We have some clients that use web-based chat. Our average chat response time is 0 seconds for the last 12 months. So again, providing emphasis in that response. Our engineer teams are designed so that we don't, nobody on our team is tasked with reading a script and then escalating the ticket if the script doesn't resolve the issue. Each engineer that takes the ticket is trained and staffed and enabled and expected to take the issue that comes in. So most tickets get handled by the engineer that receives the ticket. We do have a wide range of skill sets that we staff, because not every level 2 engineer can resolve every issue. They have passed escalation so that you don't have to worry about that. That's their job to escalate, get the right person on the ticket. And that's one of the main things we do. That's a core piece of our service, and we put a lot of effort into that. Server and network administration, Office 365 Exchange administration. So all the back-end systems, we're doing that too. Firewalls, servers, backups, Office 365, Azure, a private cloud solution. And we're making sure all those pieces are running right. A lot of our proactive support that I mentioned goes into those pieces. We're updating firmware, or segmenting the network, or setting up guest Wi-Fi. Hosted anti-spam and antivirus for email. Whether you're using Office 365 or Google Apps or an on-premise solution, there's just a lot of value in having an additional layer of spam filtering. You get the benefit of 2 layers. You get a lot of control in how you handle email and a dedicated service for that. And that's something that people don't want to get too much spam. They don't want to miss emails they don't want or they did want. So this service allows us to provide that balance. Cloud managed print is something that we're doing a lot more of in our clients that no longer have on-premise servers. They don't have a server to be a print server anymore. And if you talk with some of the other folks at Loffler has a really great business printing solution called Uniflow. And this is not that. This is a really lightweight cloud print solution that allows you to easily print to different printers in your office, or print to the office when you're at home, or even do secure printing so the print job doesn't release until you walk up to the printer. And you don't need an on-premise server to do that. And then an IT budget roadmap and an IT strategy roadmap. I'll talk more about those in a few minutes. But working through individual support tickets is important. Implementing best practices is important. But for us, we want to make sure your IT is in line with your business. We want to make sure that you're aware of costs that are coming up, maintenance renewals, end of life on products, Windows 7, Windows 2008 server, end of life. So you're planning ahead for those and you're not scrambling in Q4 possibly or early next year. So those go end of life in January. And we have a strategy to go through that, so we can bring budget recommendations to you ahead of time, so that we can talk about how you're using your IT and understand what you want to do with your business and help plan initiatives to use IT to help those initiatives. Secure 3 is adding just some additional services and tools and technology on top of our existing solutions. Whether it's from a compliance requirement, or you dealt with a crypto virus one day and you really want to minimize your chance of that happening again, there are some additional tools to help that, and they all require licensing costs. And so what we did is picked several of them that we think help reduce your security risk, and bundled them into a package. And advanced network monitoring, as people use cloud services more and more, the responsiveness and the the configuration of the network becomes much more important. If you're using Salesforce or Office 365 or an ERP solution or an accounting solution that's web-based, and your internet or your local networking is not meeting those needs to deliver that service fast, it's not going to feel like a good solution. Security awareness training. We're going to send emails to people throughout the year, try and trick them into clicking on links that they shouldn't, and then provide some really accessible education about why they shouldn't have done that and how they can identify that in the future. An email from Wells Fargo, if that's the bank that your company uses. And we send it to the finance department and say, log in here and update this information. And then if somebody clicks on that and types it, we say, this is how you can identify that this is a phishing email and you shouldn't have clicked on that. User education is a really important part of a good security strategy. Office 365, backup and email archiving. So, and this goes the same for G Suite if you use that. But as you move files and data into OneDrive or G Drive or Teams or SharePoint Online, those become file sharing solutions for your company. And as your licensing allows that, people start to use those tools, whether you know or not. And they may not be keeping a copy on your file server that's backed up. Those tools provide a recycle bin functionality, but that is not backup and recovery. Those solutions are susceptible to crypto virus. If you have OneDrive on your computer and you get a crypto virus, guess what? Crypto's cloud version 2, because it all syncs back. This solution just adds a traditional backup and recovery solution with point-in-time recovery, or not needing to work with an individual user or relying on a recycle bin to get the data back that you want. Multi-factor authentication is the classic login with username and password. Get a PIN on your phone, type in that PIN, and there are really flexible ways to implement that in an organization so that when you're in your physical office, for example, you don't need to type in the PIN. But if you're traveling in a hotel, you do. Or you're in a different country, you do. And so that it's still convenient for you to do your work, but somebody else who probably isn't you, it's a lot harder for them to authenticate and get into your Office 365, for example. DNS filtering is another layer of security that if you type in Loffler.com, it's an additional validation that in fact is Loffler.com and there isn't a middle, man-in-the-middle attack that's pretending to be Loffler.com. And email encryption is important for sending confidential information when you need it, whether it's financial information or customer information. Email is plain text when sent by default, and there are encryption solutions to help secure that data through email. So this screenshot, and if you want to see it closer, I'm happy to pull it up on my laptop over at the table in the other room. But this is an example of some of the network visualization that I talked about, the advanced network monitoring. As your services are in the cloud and not using on-premise servers, you need to know what the network data is doing in order to get to resolution quickly. So you see network, a whole visualization at first. So this tool goes out and identifies everything that's on the network that's plugged in, whether it's a hub under somebody's desk that you forgot about that was put in 3 years ago because they needed an extra port, or somebody brought a wireless access point and plugged it in because they didn't think that wireless was strong enough, so they put their own in. This will detect those kinds of things and help identify them very quickly. And then it collects data on everything, so you see bandwidth utilization, you see individual ports. So the classic, the network feels slow today, complaint. It allows us to get to resolution very quickly by being able to see what's doing what where and what changed, and then we can take the appropriate action. So the strategy roadmap I mentioned. So we're going to go through, and these are not technical questions like what's the firmware version of your firewall or what processor is on your server. These are questions about how you're using technology and how you want to use technology. And we talk about workstations and user administration, servers, network, security, and business continuity. And we take your answers and we say, here's what you're doing today, and here's where you say you'd like to be. That's part of our strategy roadmap planning session. Then we help map out a budget. We assign projects to your goals, so where there was white in those graphs. And so you can plan it out. You can plan it out a year or two and say, these are the things that we want to do in this order. And here's some estimated costs. And it rolls it up really nice so you can reference back at this. And then we go through that over time, maybe once a quarter, maybe once a year, and you can see your business's IT score change. The actual number isn't really important. It's the fact that you have a point in time where you are, you have a goal where you want to be, and then to see that progress over time. Selfishly, one of the things for us is as we would do proactive support for our clients, they say, well, we're not contacting you anymore. We never have any tickets. I don't know if we need the solution anymore because we've cleaned everything up and we've reduced the number of issues. Well, there's still value in our service programs, and one of the things we can do is help you utilize technology that you have better and identify things that you want to do and pick good solutions to match up with that. Any questions about any of the slides?
When you're doing some of the Office 365 encryption and some of the antivirus spam filtering, is that based on the client's tenant, or are you're managing the client's tenant for them?
So on the spam filtering, we put a solution in between their email and the internet. So whether it's an on-premise email solution or a cloud solution, we point all incoming email at that service first, and then it delivers it to the tenant, and then all outbound email routes through that as well. So it's a cloud-based solution, and then it's configured. We have a set of, a standard configuration that's pretty good, but every business has some, unique things that they want to be able to accommodate, and what we found is that we can accommodate those in this solution. So everybody gets a daily quarantine digest, and so they can see what was blocked by spam, and right in there they can say, whitelist this is not spam, never be spam again. Or it gives them a link to log in and actually do some more granular management on their own if they'd like to, or support at loffler.com, make the request, and we're happy to handle those as well.
So if we had Loffler doing some of our IT management or support, the way I understand it is that you do your assessment, but don't, as the daily functionalities go on, you will make recommendations on things that need to be changed, like access points, adding them, taking them out, changing switches or whatever.
Usually those recommendations come up in that recurring service review part, the QBR, but our engineers will identify those things too. If they're fixing the same issue over and over and there's a solution, especially if it's a reasonable solution, not a huge cost of some kind, they'll bring that up at the time because they want to get those issues addressed. So it's a combination. I mentioned 2 primary contacts. Each of our engineer teams has a service manager. They also have a service lead. And they're a technical resource, but they're also tasked with looking at those recurring issues and saying, why are we keeping on working on the same thing over and over? And so they're really focused on identifying those kinds of things and then bringing visibility to them, whether it's directly to the primary contact or to the service manager to be an agenda item on the next review.
But that's for repetitive issues that come up. How about just overall changes that might be?
Yeah, so during our onboarding process, we look for things that are out of what we would call best practice.
Okay.
Talk about those right away. And then as they're uncovered as well. Part of our proactive maintenance is to go out and just make sure each piece of equipment is running how we'd like it to. Well, that's all I have today. I thought I'd share one more comment. I talked about the response, and we just had a new client come on in October, and their first feedback to us is love the immediate response and follow up with any issue, no matter the urgency. And that's the service that we really want to give. I think that's why people work with Loffler, is because they get the help they want right away. And So that was great to see the first feedback to us. So it's done. Thank you.